Don't you hate pants?
Here's Brunette. Brunette's in. Andrew Brunette shot on score. Andrew Brunette in sudden death overtime. And Minnesota is moving on.
I won't need my high school diploma anymore. I am smart. I am smart. I am smart. I am smart. S-M-R-T. I mean S-M-A-R-T.
Played here by Danny deeply, and out they come 2-on-1. This is Niederreiter holding on to it, and he scores! Nino Niederreiter wins the series for the Minnesota Wild.
We made it. This is episode 50 of the Giles and the Goalies podcast. Much to the despise of our audio equipment, we've hit a good milestone here. I am Giles. I got Ben on my left.
Hello.
Sporting a wonderful John Van Beesbrook Panthers jersey.
Thank you.
And across the table from us is our old friend, back from whatever travels he's been on, Charlie Beattie.
I've been in my Spanish immersion class.
You didn't do the Rosetta Stone class?
No, I went straight to baseball.
Okay.
Yeah.
We.
I thought you should have just left it that the two of you guys were sitting on the same side of the booth, but there was nobody else here.
We should have left it. Yeah, we should have just left
That would
it.
have been way better.
Yeah, that would have made it weird. Something like, why do you guys do that?
Well,
No, I think we didn't keep it very much a secret. We were going to have a guest on this week. So,
No, we talked about it a lot, actually.
yeah. So,
did
anyway,
you tell them who it was?
No, we kept that. We kept that part a secret.
Yeah.
Oh, good, because that would have driven the ratings way down. If they knew it was, it's just that guy.
Yeah.
no, but yeah. Before we get to the brass tacks,
Ooh.
couple of rants incoming on college hockey. Last night, the University of North Dakota won the national championship. Much to
Do they have a nickname?
Yeah. Fighting Hawks.
the Fighting Hawks.
Oh, the Hawks, huh?
Yeah, they're the Fighting Hawks
Yeah.
now.
Original.
Yeah.
But don't call them that.
Yeah.
No, I think I
To
will.
anyone.
It's legally
Yeah,
binding.
right. But if you say that to any of the
Did they
UND
ever have
fans,
another nickname? I don't even know. Was there something else they used to go by?
I think
I just got here.
I don't think they quite understand the phrase legally binding.
Legally
I'm
binding.
pretty sure they don't really
No.
grasp that concept.
No.
So
Yeah, that just makes me so angry that they won it all, and as I nearly duked it out with a UND fan last night.
thank God his mom broke up the fight.
Yeah.
Not Giles' mom.
Yeah, no,
the
not
other
Giles, the
guy's
guy's mom. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
no,
is a
I
true
do not,
story.
I do not take my mom out to drinking establishments with me. Let's clear that up right now.
You'd get into a lot less fights if you did. Makes me sad. Just big sigh.
Yeah, it is.
That's
it
on
is
the bingo board, I saw.
It is.
There you go.
It is a dark day in Minnesota hockey, just kind of in general. I like to think a lot of people in Minnesota follow college hockey, and I think a lot of people in Minnesota who did not attend said University of North Dakota kind of by default hate the University of North Dakota, no matter where you're from. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's pretty universal amongst Bulldog, Husky, Maverick, and Gopher fans that the UND is kind of, more or less the definite evil of all the
To
rest
be
of them.
fair, those guys are dicks.
Yeah. That's a good argument.
I don't really know how else to put it, but they're dicks.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
I think what makes it more frustrating that they won and they've been consistently good for the last however many years is the Gophers really going down here in the last couple of years, and just puts more.
The anchor that is the Big Ten Conference.
Yeah, the meat grinder, the Big Ten Conference.
Meat grinder.
Yeah.
All 6 teams.
Hey, they got North Dakota.
They're so good.
It's a big get.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. I was going to say. They did?
Sorry, it's my bad.
They might throw a parade around here if North Dakota came into the Big Ten.
Yeah.
But I don't see that happening ever. That's my small rant on UND winning, and I don't like their fans, most of them.
Well, to be fair, they're dicks.
Right.
You know who probably does like UND? John Buccigross.
Probably. I heard him talking about it.
He changed his avatar to a green and black college hockey hat.
Hashtag college hockey.
After they won.
Listen, I came here. I promised to be very zen. You guys are really trying to rile me up, and I don't like it. It's a wonderful Sunday evening, and that guy. I hate him so much.
See, I trolled you pretty good before the show with the bowl of soup.
You did.
And
you were on a roll today.
I should have worn my Bucci Overtime Challenge shirt to double down on the troll.
I feel like you guys may have picked up a few new listeners in the interim since I've been here last, or since I at least talked about John Buccigross.
2 or 3, I think. Yeah.
Maybe I should explain my deep hatred of John Buccigross.
Yeah. Preface it. Yeah. Synopsis.
I'm a little picky about my broadcasters, as these guys will tell you.
Yeah, a little bit.
And he is quite possibly the worst play-by-play man on television this side of Hawk Harrelson, who gets his own special category, which we talked about before the podcast. But I'm not going to pick on Hawk Harrelson because that's too much of a can of corn to pick on Hawk Harrelson. It's too easy. So I'm not going to do it. But yeah, Buccigross, not a good play-by-play. He clearly loves the sport.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deny him that.
Nope.
I don't think he does it right, but he clearly loves the sport. But as far as describing it on television, it's hard for a play-by-play guy to actually take away from the information you're seeing on TV in a broadcast, but he does. And I can't stand it. I didn't watch the Frozen Four for more than 8 minutes because of this.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it here and there, and it's just like there's a lot of times in hockey where you have near misses. But every single time there was like a sprawling save and or just missed pass. I mean, he basically gives birth to a litter of kittens every time that happens.
And then goes on to over-explain the play.
Exactly, and it's just like, John, that kind of stuff happens in hockey all the time.
Right.
Like
I know you work for ESPN, so you only see it once a year. But
and again, like you said, I mean, he clearly has an affinity for college hockey. And I'm not even going to question that. I'm not going to call him a fake or whatever. I can see how some people
he genuinely loves the sport.
I can see how some people want to be that guy and be like, you don't even like it that much. But it's like, dude, you can't, like, as a play-by-play guy, you kind of have to check your passion a little bit and be professional, and he's just, I don't know if he's just not capable of that.
You kind of have to build the game as it goes along.
And
a shot that misses the net by 4 feet 20 seconds into the game is not the most exciting thing that has ever happened to you.
And then he's throwing in, like, silly pop culture references and one-liners, and it's like, in places that it's just, like, there was a goal for North Dakota, and he just screams out "Holy shnikes" after that, and it's like that wasn't related to that hockey play whatsoever. I mean, I like the movie Tommy Boy as much as the next guy.
For the 8 minutes of the game that I did watch, which was the North Dakota-Denver game, Barry Melrose did say, "You're killing me, Smalls," at one point.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And I thought to myself...
Smalls or Smalls?
It was in reference to Jordan Schmaltz.
Yeah, Schmaltz, that's right. Yeah,
he said, "You're killing me, Schmaltz." And I thought, nope, not going to give it to you.
I hope next year at the state high school tournament, ESPN sends Buccigross instead of Barry Melrose.
Barry Melrose to do a hockey hair exposition.
What's up?
Barry Melrose, he was at the high school hockey tournament.
Oh, I know. I got his hair grease on me in the press room.
Yeah, and so that just came out like 2 nights ago, didn't it? It was on E60 or something.
I haven't seen it yet.
They did the whole hockey hair thing, which, I mean, it's Barry Melrose. He's kind of synonymous, so I get that, but...
I just want the scenario where Charlie and Buccigross are in the same room.
Just
to see what happens.
I'm not going to say much about that meeting. All I'm going to tell you is that only one man leaves.
Well, the great Nate Wells spent a lot of time with Buccigross this weekend.
Oh,
You could have passed on some words.
BFFs.
Well, Nate's my buffer.
Yeah.
I like Nate.
He's
Good man.
He can stand between you guys.
That's right.
He can translate.
I don't know. I think I'm much taller than Nate. I could probably just go over his
you can
head
reach over
to
him, yeah.
Buccigross. Oh. And I'd try.
Well, that was worth
I'm a
the price
nice
of admission
man.
right
Yeah, I'm a
there. I'm
nice
pretty
man.
sure.
All right, I'm out.
Thanks for coming, Charlie. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Yeah, I guess we can move on to the
other topics, perhaps.
The Minnesota Wild. The reason we
I'll keep
podcast.
going if you want me to.
I mean, we could switch gears and talk about how much we love Chris Cuthbert at this table, but
Yeah, but then I get all sad because we could have met him at the state tournament. We didn't.
Yeah. You
yeah,
guys dropped the ball.
Yeah, well, maybe I
should've-
should be. That's the only time I've ever been like, maybe I should be on Twitter more often.
I should have been paying more attention to Twitter than the hockey game.
Yeah.
That's what I
not
took.
often.
yeah, you really dropped the ball as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Basically.
I'm always on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
It's one of your many responsibilities as King Blogger, isn't it? That is not the last time I'm going to say that, by the way. Just so we're clear.
That's one of the kingdoms you have to rule as King Blogger, right? Twitter.
Wild Twitter.
It's going in my Twitter
Westeros.
bio. You can check for that once you're listening. It'll say King Blogger.
I need to find a way to extract that from the Russo podcast and turn that into a drop for this podcast. Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's a way I can do that. And I'm
you
going
probably
to
make it
do
happen.
that. Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't in the last.
I didn't think about it till this afternoon, and I'm like, that's going to take a lot of time to do that. And I'd already done the whole "it's a trap" thing, so I figured out.
Yes.
One drop for the day was
I
probably.
forgot to put that in the topics, but we need to properly tribute.
Yes.
It's a trap.
Yes, we do.
That was the actor who played Admiral
Akbar.
Akbar.
Yeah, it was.
He passed away this last week, and as we love to use that on Twitter, and as we've said about every show this season, trap game.
Crossed off.
Yeah, rest in peace.
R.I.P.
It's a trap.
Admiral Akbar.
So
I thought it was Jacques Lemaire. But
No.
just
You know what? Along those lines, how was there never a Wild blog called "It's a Trap"?
actually,
In that era?
good question.
You know what?
In that
I
era,
think there
like-
was. I thought there was one called Jacques Lemaire's Trap.
Oh, that's not the same.
That sounds like an item of clothing that no one wants to see. Jacques Trap.
No. If you say it really fast, Jacques Trap.
Jacques
Yeah,
Trap.
there you go.
There you go.
There you go. That's all you need.
Oh my god! There's your podcast title. Episode 50. Jacques Trap.
I know you guys have been looking for a new name for a while. You're welcome. And I'm out. Again.
Yeah. Like, how much better would that have been? Like, they have In Lou We Trust is one of the SB Nation Devil site, which now sadly their name doesn't apply anymore. So that I don't know if they
Doesn't
I don't know if they I don't know if they did away with it or not. But like in the infancy of things, when they created Hockey Wilderness, wouldn't it have made a lot of sense to call it "It's a Trap"? Like that would have just been such
but
an
I don't
awesome.
know if anybody could have seen that coming.
Nah, that's
when
true,
was the site created? I don't know anything about those
It was
things.
after the Wild. We're around for what we talked to Brian Reynolds about it, and it was actually called State of Hockey News. Ironically enough,
Oh, God.
And then the Wild cracked down on them, and they had to
leave that
change
one
it.
alone.
Yeah, they had to change it to Hockey Wilderness, and then, as we well know, someone else took that moniker, and subsequently, we're just going to skip the rest of that.
Wait, what? No, I'd like to hear the end of that sentence.
No, we'll just see he, and then he, but then he's a, and so then I had to block and then yeah. Anyway,
So much knowledge.
so anyway, yeah. Minnesota Wild. I think we're here to talk about.
Is that so what this podcast is about?
Yeah, well, that's what we're told.
Okay.
Yeah. As I was looking up I was looking up the website, Jacques Lemaire's Trap.
Oh, okay.
It was a thing.
Oh,
but
all right.
It's not anymore.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
But yeah, just couple of games played since we last convened.
And they did not go well.
What was that? 2-1, 3-1, 3-0. I had it in front of me.
Yeah.
Saturday night?
No, Tuesday.
Oh.
Against the Sharks,
Against the Sharks.
which I went to.
Yes, 3-0.
Yeah.
That was a playoff clinching loss.
Yes, it was.
I'd like to remind you.
That was that was a weird game.
We can't be negative at all.
No.
Not allowed.
That was a weird game because it was just like, I don't know, not that you require to see some fire out of your team, but you'd kind of hope like, hey, you guys,
like you can require that.
Yeah, well, it's like you guys can.
That's the one thing you can require.
You guys can clinch tonight. Hey, like all you got to do is go out there and get one win. Against a team that, granted, is a very good team and is especially is a very good road team for some reason. And yeah, they just come out like it was the meaningless Calgary game on Saturday. Like they played harder against Calgary on Saturday than they did on Tuesday against San Jose. And I don't know if that's guys battling for playoff ice time or what, but it seems to me like you should try harder in the game where you can clinch a playoff spot on your own accord versus the game that is basically like the Nicholas Backstrom Farewell Tour 2016. Like, just that was, I don't know, not surprising, I guess, unfortunately.
So Dan and I were at the game on Tuesday. There's another X on the bingo card. Second intermission rolls around, and Dan looks at me and he goes, "You just want to go to Reed's? There's 2-for-1 still for the third period."
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, let's go."
Because it was 2-0 at that point. Yeah.
And the lady who was sitting next to us, she's like, "You guys leaving?" I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "You're giving up?" And I was like, I literally, she...
You don't know
what happened. She was calling me out.
King blogger right there.
Yeah. And I
would drink if I want to.
I was just like, I told her, I've seen this story before. Like, they're either going to score a goal to give you false hope,
right,
or they're just not going to do anything at all, which they didn't.
Exactly what happened.
And, yeah, that's...
Yeah, I don't know where I even stand on the whole leaving early thing, because I know it's very frowned upon by some crowds, but yet everybody seems to do it. And I don't know,
Again, I didn't leave to get a jump on parking. I left to get a good deal on beer.
Which, if there's anything defensible, then that would probably be
I don't even drink, and I can't fight with
Yeah, no, exactly, yeah. Even Charlie can respect that, but... Yeah, I don't know. I mean, in a game like that, and where a game where the team is just showing, like, literally, there was just no fight in that team whatsoever. They're already down 2-0 to a good team. It's like, yeah, I kind of don't blame you for taking off, especially, with the intentions that you had. You had the intention of watching the rest of the game just at another location with much more favorable beer prices. Yeah, I don't really take issue with that so much.
And you can also go to the bar and watch the game that would actually help the Wild clinch the playoff spot.
That's very true, too.
The Wild game.
Yeah, because that's what a lot of people who are watching at home end up doing. I end up watching a lot of that Colorado game during the third period as well, because why watch the third period?
Yeah, I was actually playing hockey on Tuesday night by the time those games ended.
Yeah.
And I had my phone out. And the guy next to me did not ask, "Hey, are the Wild winning?" He said, "Hey, is Colorado losing?"
It's a smart guy.
I had my leg pads on, my phone out. I just wanted to do one final check of the scores.
Yeah.
And, I think that's telling.
It is.
They clinched, 15 minutes after their game ended, and because Colorado lost, and that was probably the most depressing celebration of a clinching playoff spot that I've ever had as a sports fan. Dan and I just looked at each other and were like, should we cheers this?
Well, last year, one of the articles I wrote at the end of the year was ranking the clinching games.
Yeah.
And I think they had only ever gotten into the playoffs after a loss once before. And I think it was like might have been 03.
Yeah.
But, this one would have been, out of the now 7 playoff appearances for the Wild, probably would have ranked about 14th. Like way below the rest of them.
Yes.
It was really bad.
That was not good. And I feel like I say it every week on this show. You got to be better than that. Mm-hmm. They are better than that, and it's so evident that there's something.
I just want to come by and feel like I'm a positive guy and just give you one thing to remember. The Wild might kind of suck right now heading into the playoffs, but Colorado sucks more, and they're not going to the playoffs.
Yeah. That was basically my entire article on Wednesday.
Yeah.
It was like, thank God for the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah.
Because they are awful.
They really didn't want it.
Yeah. Yes, they really
want
didn't.
any of this.
No.
And the best part, Joe Sakic and Patrick Waugh are coming back next year.
I know.
So we get to do this again.
It's not Patrick Waugh's fault, guys. It's not Patrick Waugh's
No.
fault. He's a golden god.
He's a Hall of Famer.
That's a Jack Adams Award winner.
I mean, he did such a great job turning that franchise around that a book is written about him. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can't question him after that point.
I question who wrote the book.
Was that book One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish? Some other.
No, it was Are You My Mother? Just killing the Dr. Seuss references today.
That's not. Are You My Mother's not a Dr. Seuss book.
Oh, no, it's not. You're right. Yeah,
It's
my
a
bad.
P.K. Eastman book.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I
You're way more ready for fatherhood than I ever
Expecting
will
Dad.
be. Yeah, I was just going to say it.
I also have a lot of nieces and nephews under the age of 5.
I do recall the book. Yeah, good call, though. Good call. I should have known that the title didn't rhyme. Why would it be a Dr. Seuss book? Come on.
It's true.
Yeah, and then the Wild.
Segue.
Yeah, just
Just
not
assume
even-
there
just
was.
not even
Speaking
gonna
of
happen
green
yet.
eggs and ham.
Yeah. Boy. And then the Wild had a nice 4-day break, and which we got to watch the Twins just self-destruct,
God.
and then the Wild came back Saturday night, and they played okay, I guess, but
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a good team they played, certainly, but
no.
they played pretty well. I mean, they certainly got a boatload of chances, and Nicholas Backstrom was doing his best peak Dominic Hasek impression out of nowhere on Saturday
and that's
night.
why
Like,
I'm
it was
glad that
bizarre
them not
to
clinching
see it.
would have carried over into that game.
Yes.
I know those words that they're all real, but they don't make sense to me. I didn't see that game, but my goodness.
It
was
was.
good.
That's what it
Really?
looked like. He was unbelievable. Like it was. They were more, and I say peak Dominic Hasek because it was definitely more of like the flopping variety of saves. Like it wasn't like, oh, look at Nicholas being so positionally sound and nuanced and technical. No, it was Nicholas Backstrom flopping like a crappie and somehow managing to stop every single puck that went at his
The
way.
sentence you just said is like, yeah, that's like William Baldwin doing his best Jim Carrey impersonation.
Yeah,
Like,
basically.
those people don't belong in the same world.
No, I know. And then, of course, the one goal he lets in was like a
it was
goofy,
terrible.
angle spinorama shot backhand from Zach Delpy, which is just kind of, I don't know if that's like a cherry on top to that game or what, but it just kind of adds to the hilarity. And then they lose the game on a shot that like ricochets off the ice and somehow bounces 4 feet in the air over Kemper's shoulder, which again just kind of was, there was multiple cherries on top to that game, I suppose.
I get that he would have been off for over a week, but I didn't get why you started Dubnyk at all there. Just give him the night off.
I didn't mind it. I think it's a decent tune-up. It's akin to when an NFL team is going into the playoffs and they play
Right.
their starting quarterback for like a series or two.
Like I said,
it's kind of like that. I didn't
get
have
it.
a problem.
But he started the game?
Yeah,
And
he
then
played
Kemper
30
came-
minutes exactly, like almost exactly. They planned at the midway point to pull him out, and that's exactly what they did. And Kemper
That's
came in and
weird.
I
subsequently
said,
let up 2 goals, and they lost.
I get it. I don't know. I'm concerned about
His workload.
his workload, which
Yeah.
I asked on the Russo show yesterday, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and what I don't get is just like, what? Well, how do they pick 30 minutes? Like, just have him play the first period. What's the difference of him playing 10 minutes into the second period and making a goalie switch in the middle of the period?
Right.
The teams then switch ends? Is that how this Sorry, I've forgotten everything I knew about hockey.
Well, it depends on which way the wind's blowing. You can
Right.
take the wind, or you can
Yeah.
take the end. Yeah.
Just a weird week, and
It was.
then all that
God, it really
stuff
was.
with the. I guess what got me going was just how seemingly the whole team was just like, okay, we made it in. Why are you so negative?
I know.
Well, you just got booed off your home ice.
Yeah. See, here's
I
the
don't
deal.
think things are going, swimmingly.
It's weird to me that a team, I don't know, it's like, how self-aware aren't you? Like, seriously, like, for the team to actually, like, make a point to call out media negativity about their team that is on a 5-game losing streak going into the playoffs, it's like,
And wouldn't have made the playoffs in the Eastern Conference?
Exactly.
By 6 points?
Right. It's like, I don't even need to, you guys made the playoffs exclusively because the Avalanche completely crapped the bed.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other reason. You did not make it on your own accord.
Yeah.
Not at all. What was your playoff clinching win 2 weeks ago? Because that was the last time you won. So it's just you can't. I get it from their standpoint. They want to be positive, and that's fine. You want, I guess, positivity out of your team. You don't want them to be as defeatist as the fans are. But you don't need to call out the media for pointing out that you're terrible. That, use it as, that's the definition of bulletin board material. If you're going to be pissed about it, put it on the bulletin board and use it as a reason to not play like hot garbage when you're trying to clinch a playoff spot.
Kind of what I took away from that was, does this team expect for themselves? Is there expectations to just get in the playoffs every year? Because if that's kind of what I took out of that was, okay, everybody be happy we made the playoffs. No, that is not what we expect from you. We expect you to clinch sooner and be higher in the standings, not having to rely on the Avalanche of all teams to continue to lose.
It's not a bad bet to take, but...
Right.
Well, you still don't rely on it.
Yeah.
You just know that it's going to happen.
You don't want to push all of your chips on the head button,
It can still happen without affecting our lives.
Yeah, last year, for instance. That's exactly what happened last year. They were inconsequential to the playoff race last year.
Jack Adams Award winner.
Yes. But, yeah, it's just our expectations are a little bit higher. God forbid you maybe contend for a division championship at some point. Not that I think those mean a whole lot, because, they only have one, and who cares, but...
The Los Angeles Kings are on line 1 saying no.
Yeah.
Chicago Blackhawks are on line 2 saying no.
Yeah. And I get that, but it's just maybe not making it by the skin of your nuts would be a good way to look at
the regular season is just a process. You know what I mean? You want to be playing, you want to feel like your team is as cohesive as it's going to get going into the playoffs. But the Wild have lost, like you said, 5 games in a row, and they were benching guys in game 81. That's about as uncohesive as it can get.
Yeah.
That's the long and short of it. Right. There's nothing to build on as this team goes into the playoffs, other than the fact that they've made the playoffs the last couple of years, and Dallas wasn't in it last year.
Yeah,
whatever. That doesn't mean anything.
They benefited from Chicago's cap issues, which
basically,
which is why they're doing much better this year. And I guess maybe that's a good segue to Dallas, since we're on them. And
sure,
they are the Wild's opponent in the first round, starting, I believe, Thursday. Well, the NHL just refuses to get out a schedule.
I know. I get it because they had games today that decided half of the playoff matchups.
They're still playing right now. Play these games in the afternoon. Be done with it.
Yeah, but it's you could at least, give us an inkling of an idea as to when some of these series are going to start, because, we have articles to plan, damn it.
Yeah. How dare they not think of us?
I know. Think of the bloggers.
Mr. Bettman, King Bloggers on line 1 for you.
The kingdom is trying to contact...
Last time I checked, King does rank higher than Commissioner.
It does, yes. That's what I've heard. That's how it works in England, at least. They're experts at that kind of thing.
Weirdly not Belgium. Doesn't work that in Belgium.
What do we expect out of this team against Dallas? As I think the Stars took 4 out of 5 games against the Wild this year, if I recall
correctly. I do believe at least 3 of those were in 3-on-3 overtime.
They were, yeah. So technically, the record was 1-1-3 as far as from the Wild standpoint, and 4-1-4-2 from the Dallas standpoint. But I don't know. It's going to be different. I think they did play him a little bit closer than that record indicates. Obviously, 3-on-3 overtime was kind of like the Wild's ultimate Achilles heel this season, for a variety of reasons. But I don't know. You don't know. That's the weird thing about this team. And last year, you felt like you had a whole lot of optimism because they're the best team in the league after the break. this year, I mean, it's literally, then they laid it out after the game on Saturday of how the Torchetti era has literally been 4-game winning streak, 4-game losing streak, 4-game winning streak, 4-game losing streak. And like, so you don't know
Which is exactly what the Mike Gill era was.
Yeah, well, yeah. And so it's like, I don't know which team is going to show up in Dallas on Thursday night, if that's what it is. Like, this team can this team play with Dallas? Absolutely they can.
Well, they can play with anybody.
Yeah, they can play with anyone. But that's what makes it so difficult. Is like I can't even breaking down this series is going to be so difficult because you can be like, well, looks like the Wild kind of have an edge on defense. Obviously the Stars have a more potent offense. Goaltending is, unfortunately, kind of a crapshoot because Dubnyk has been good and also kind of spotty at times, and the Dallas goaltending on paper looks kind of terrible, but they've actually played pretty well recently. So, but above and beyond all of that, you have no idea what Wild team is going to show up. Like, you can break down the X's and O's, and you can break down the points per 60 minutes and the Corsi for percentage. It just really
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, and that's fine. But it just, to quote The Rock, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. It is almost like this series is almost going to be exclusively decided by the mindset of the Minnesota Wild alone. And not to say that the Dallas Stars have no hand in this series at all, but really, they're going to play their game, and I'm sure they've had their inconsistent stretches too, but from my vantage point, it's going to be decided by the mindset of the Wild almost exclusively.
Is Sagan back healthy?
He's practicing on Monday, allegedly. So he may or may not be back, but now...
Practicing his dance moves to Justin Bieber songs? Or just practicing?
No, he is... Well, but it was a knee injury, so it's like... When you're skating for the first time on Monday, are you going to play on Thursday if you're skating with a knee injury for the first time on Monday? I don't know. I wouldn't think so, but it's the playoffs, and who knows? It's not like hockey players haven't been known to tough out a few injuries and or take a few painkillers from time to time.
Wasn't it an Achilles?
I thought it was... Oh, yeah, you're right, it was Achilles.
That's even worse.
But even still,
Cut his Achilles.
It's your leg, that's... anything with your legs, you're not... skate and for the first time, and then 3 days later you're like, yep, 100%.
Good to go. Ready to play elite level sports.
I'm gonna switch gears here and be positive for the first time in a few weeks. So I am in
You're
favor,
losing standing with your kingdom right now.
I'm in favor of Zach Parise right now, talking positively.
Oh. This is new.
I just lost my train of thought. It was there, and then it just was not.
It would be a podcast without Giles completely getting derailed mid-thought. Some things never change, Charlie. I don't know if you've noticed, but...
Yeah, some things do not change.
Giles Amtrak Farrell is right here.
I think we saw in stretches of their games with Dallas, they played well with them. The problem was they would take a period off and Dallas would score 4 times because that's what the Stars do.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
If you are way too relaxed, they're going to light you up. And as you brought up, the overtime is different. There's no 3-on-3. It's 5-on-5, play till you lose, which...
I don't want to say that it favors the Wild, because I don't think it does.
But they'll benefit more from it, but I don't know if it favors them.
It definitely swings it a little bit more towards neutrality than anything, because 3-on-3 overtime, I think that I don't know a team that it benefits more than the Stars.
Yeah.
Or the Stars, or insert high octane.
What scares me about playing Dallas and when you're going to play 5-on-5 overtime is what happens in playoff overtime. The bench gets short.
Yep.
And the Stars can bring in, if you're going to play guys every other shift, or sometimes even more in overtime, it's going to be Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin if he's healthy.
Yeah.
And those are some scary people to see every other shift.
And John Klingberg, who lit up the Wild this year.
Yeah.
He led the Stars in points in those 5 games, I believe.
Yeah.
Right up there with Benn and Seguin. I don't know. You kind of hit it on the head. If the team has a good mindset, it should be a good series, but if they don't, could easily be done in 4 games, 5 games.
Well, and then the crappy thing is, like, that could swing from game to game, too. We kind of saw that against St. Louis last year. I mean, everyone remembers, how exciting it was after game 1. You're like, holy crap, like, this team is... and then game 3 was great, and then game 4 was like, it just completely went off the rails. And then game 5s and 6, they kind of, and then they dominated those games, but they played very well in those games, and they won those games.
They dominated game. I would say they dominated game 6.
Yeah, and it also took
game 6
Jake Allen to
and Jake Allen kind of imploded. But
right, well, yeah. By the end of game 6, he was quote unquote broken.
Yeah.
How are people feeling about that now?
But it comes back to that game 4. Like, the Wild just flat out did not show up for game 4 in a series. They're leading 2-1, and they have a home game, and they don't show up. Like, textbook, do not show up for a playoff game. And so it's like, it's not only will they show up for this series, you have to ask them that every single night. Even if they showed up for game 1, they play the Stars close, they maybe even win a game on the road like they did last year. You don't know in game 2 which Wild team is going to show up. Like, you have legitimately no idea if they're going to carry that over or if it's going to be completely meaningless by the time the puck drops for game 2.
They essentially have to be in, a must-win scenario for them to really bring it, which...
But they didn't do that over this past week. I mean, they really were in one, because if Colorado had won a couple games, this could have verged on, I don't want to say historic collapse, but semi-historic at least.
Bad collapse. Certainly a noteworthy Minnesota sports collapse.
They're just perpetually trying to let Blair Walsh off the hook, but,
And then the injury report for the Wild came out today, and Parise is still out, and he could be out for game 1, and Vanek is out for first couple games at least, and Eric Hall is now day-to-day, and it wasn't fun reading the injury report this morning. I guess at this point, despite what has happened this year, I would like to see, everybody just in the game out there. Just might as well just put everybody out there and see what happens. But
yeah, ideally, I mean, it would, as bad as it would be for this team to just completely, choke on themselves and lose out. I don't know if it might be even worse if they don't even have a chance because they're missing Parise, who's, we can say what we want about how maligned his season has been, but obviously he's a very important player to this team. And Eric Holla, who has arguably been the best player on the team over the last month.
Torchetti era.
Right. And so it's like, that would be even worse. Like, where you just, you feel like you didn't even have a chance. Like, what's happening to the Blues right now, where they just have players dropping like flies. That's even more of a sickening feeling, because then you feel like you have no idea. It's a whole what could have been type situation.
And the irony here is they've been pretty healthy all year. They've had a guy miss a game or two, but nothing terrible. Mm-hmm. And now it seems like that finally caught up to them. Not the best time for that. But I guess you just got to deal with it and see what happens.
I want to say this, and I want to qualify it by saying I'm not rooting for people to lose jobs or anything like that, but it's one of those things where if the Wild are going to get busted out of the playoffs this year, you want it to happen early. You want it to happen in the first round.
Yep.
Because if you are in the camp, and I know a lot of people are, that things on this team need to change, and they go to the second round or, God forbid, somehow snuck their way into the Western Conference Finals on some fluke, things don't change.
No.
Then it's the same team over and over again, and it's the same roller coaster ride of a season. But if they do lose in the first round, I think you're going to see personnel changes on the ice.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see players that you didn't expect to be traded.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be... This is the only way you can do it at this point. I mean, there's so many long-term contracts that no one's going to want to take for older players on that team. You're going to have to find a way around that. And it's going to take some gutsy moves by a GM, whoever that GM may be.
Right. That's part of it too, because you don't know what. We've talked about this before too, and a lot of people have what the requirements are going to be for Torch to earn the job permanently. It's like, well, I think he has to at least win a series, because I think a first-round exit, I would hope that, certainly bring him in as part of the interview process, I suppose.
Right.
Because he hasn't really, he's not even running, who knows what kind of system he wants to run. He's running Mike Yo's system right now, because that's what we're running in Iowa. That makes a ton of sense. And it's not his assistant coaches, obviously. They're Mike Yo's assistant coaches. So maybe he deserves a fair shake in an interview process, but by all means, you don't automatically bring him back just because he somehow navigated this almost rudderless ship into the postseason.
Right.
Because of Patrick Waugh, essentially.
Things didn't get worse under him, but they didn't get markedly better.
No. I mean, they were 15
did for a little while.
15 and 11 when it's all said and done. It's like, well, that's
and for a while there actually were like the fourth best team in the league under him.
Yeah.
And then they lost 5 games in a row, that blew that out of the water.
Yeah.
So.
No, you're right. I think, have him part of the interview process, but like the last couple days, you're seeing Claude Julien could be unemployed here in the next couple days, and
which is crazy.
I just right. That's I don't understand why Boston would do that, but you got to pick up the phone if he becomes available.
I would agree with that.
But that'll kind of be something to watch. Should the Wild lose rather quickly, is how they handle the head coach and maybe even the GM position. Who knows. I guess I will say that Craig Leopold is one of the more loyal owners in sports. He had one GM and one head coach in his time in Nashville. So if he's going to make a move, that would be more of a bold thing on his part. So
yeah. And it seems like he has, from what you've never heard anything, any kind of questioning of Chuck Fletcher from him, at least.
Right.
And it was his hire, so it's not like, it was a new regime or anything like that. But
it's a weird thing, too, because, you think about the team before Chuck Fletcher, how much worse off they were.
Yeah.
But, it's one of those things where it's like Chuck Fletcher created successful hockey culture, and now he's being blamed that it's not successful enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a victim of the fact that he made things better.
Yeah.
And that's not the best thing to say right now to a lot of people right this minute. But it's true.
Yeah.
You want Doug Riseborough back?
No.
I don't.
Yeah.
Chuck Fletcher drafted well, theoretically, comparatively.
Right. Comparatively is,
Let's put it this way.
It's a low bar.
Doug Riseborough never found an Eric Hall in the 7th round.
True.
You know what I mean?
True.
And
You did it again, huh?
I had a thought.
At least you did the mic down.
I had to swear. I hope that didn't get picked up.
No, I think we're good. I didn't hear it, so.
All right, I think I'm going to forget it again, but we're going to move on.
Okay.
To our famed segment.
Oh, I should probably turn off the bikes before I hit the drop this time.
Yeah.
All right, hold on a second.
Here to start the third period. What team is this? It's not Team USA. Yes, it is. They've got on new uniforms. They're wearing the logo of the Duck.
All right. That probably sounded much better than last week.
Yeah, well, there's no bar bingo going on.
That's
here
true,
right
too.
now,
That was obscenely loud.
Crying Baby is also gone.
Yeah, I don't think that was picked up because I didn't really hear it
Really?
much
All
in
right.
the headphones.
There was a Crying Baby.
There was.
But, if you have kind of paid close attention to our Jersey segment this year, we've kind of scheduled the Central Division teams for later on in the playoffs because fair chance the Wild are going to
see them,
play them. Yeah. So this week, obviously, will be the Dallas Stars, and we won't be including the North Stars.
No,
because
that's not fair to the
because we
anger we're about to unleash here.
Yeah, because we skipped over, I believe, Hartford.
So do I hold you back from him and him back from you, or did you just both of you guys back from the world?
Yeah, that's probably more accurately, yeah.
But
it's going to be tough. I'm on the other side of the table.
I don't know. They kind of have a weird history of jerseys.
They do. They came over and they just, adopted the Stars, the North Stars jerseys, which were, very bland and kind of generic. And then they threw Dallas across the top of Stars, and that was it for that. That they were the worst North Star jerseys by a zillion miles, obviously, so they weren't very exciting Dallas Stars jerseys either. But I actually kind of liked when they threw the green star into the jersey. I thought that was a pretty decent look. When they made it a third jersey, and then they were smart enough to kind of make it their home and away set permanently for a little while there. And I believe that's when they won the cup in, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So.
with the half.
Yeah. The where it was it looked like a giant star.
Like those.
And, I didn't think they were. I thought that they fit. They worked out pretty well.
They're gaudy, which is Texas,
and it was a very 90s jersey.
It was.
Another bingo.
It was, but I look at it now and it's like that was probably the best jersey set they've had in Dallas. And
that's not good.
Yeah, that's kind of my point. Is like those were okay because.
And what kills me is the North Stars before that had just a wonderful history of
fantastic
jerseys.
Then their final season,
I don't
they
know
got
if I'm
completely
just
sanitized.
Full of nostalgia or what, but I can't pick out a North Stars jersey I don't like.
Yeah, agreed.
But there's definitely one in the particular set of the Dallas Stars that we have no time for. And surprisingly, it didn't come in the 90s, in the era of ridiculous third jerseys. It came a decade late.
Wow.
What year was that jersey?
It was... started in the 2003-2004 season, and it somehow managed, was that 3 years?
Wow.
It's the famed Motorist jersey.
Yes, which was a running joke on this podcast for many episode when Charlie was with us last season. And I'm disappointed that we didn't really keep up the mantle of that. I don't know how that slipped through our fingers once Charlie left, but...
What is the constellation in the Motorist jersey? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
I think it's supposed to be Taurus.
That would make sense.
But I don't know constellations all that well.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's Taurus, and it's like okay, I don't know.
Yeah. Which is, of course, the eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to describe what the Motorist jersey looks like to those who may have never seen it.
You gotta...
or just Google it.
Yeah, you really have to Google it to appreciate it.
But,
but it is called the Motorist for a
glass of water handy or something.
I can't... Mike Madonna wore this jersey.
It
actually says that on the page.
On NHL uniforms, Mike Madonna is the featured player in this jersey set. And
I mean, there's jumping the shark, and then there's that.
Well, let's. I would like to ask a question. You say Mike Madonna's not the right person to be the model of the Motorist jersey. What Dallas player from that era is the perfect model for the Motorist jersey?
I feel like this is a loaded question.
No, it's not. This is a serious question.
I don't know.
All I can think of is Marty Turco.
Yeah.
That would be a decent one.
Yeah.
And I think of Madonna.
Because it can't be anybody that actually won the Stanley Cup.
Right. I think
Jamie Langenberger.
No, he didn't.
No, he won the Stanley Cup.
He won the Cup. Yeah, that's right.
Plus, he's in Minnesota.
Right.
Yeah,
let's not hate on him. Yeah.
Good Iron Range boy.
Exactly.
I have
cut you.
I have a Dallas Stars 1999 Stanley Cup poster. Don't ask me why I own it.
Okay.
I have one, and it's
all right.
No, I would say Marty Turco, or I can't think of who else.
I don't know.
You guys just banter while I Google the 2003-2004.
Yeah, I don't remember their
Dallas
roster
Stars
back
roster.
then all that well. I don't. I can't think of anybody from those teams.
I'll get to it in a second.
I mean, obviously Turco and Madonna was there, but it's like it was just that jersey. I don't.
Sergei Zubov.
Yeah, no, he came.
Did he win a cup?
He was a cup winner, I believe.
Okay.
Was he? God, because he was still around a couple of years ago.
The playoff special. Not a good roster.
Yeah. Well, which kind of the jersey kind of typifies that. I guess it's just like
Steve Ott was on those teams.
Oh, really?
He was. He was young.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's your model, Steve Ott.
Steve Ott and the Motorist, a match made.
How about Pierre Turgeon?
Wow.
Yeah.
I forgot he was with the Stars.
That could be a thing.
I always thought of him as a.
He didn't play very many games that year.
Yeah. Gross.
Yeah, that
just kind of gross.
I vote for Steve Ott as the model of the Motorist jersey.
He is the living embodiment of the Motorist.
Yes.
Or Bill Guerin.
Yeah. That's actually a pretty good one too. Then they moved on to like the I don't know what you would call that, lacrosse style maybe, like they went super simple, but it's not a hockey look.
It was such
really
a bland look. Like they really dumped the green and they went to black, and then even their third jersey, they had a third white jersey, which was just a mirror.
How are those different?
One says Dallas and one says Stars.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
then they forgot to finish them.
Yeah, basically, like they were just like default, blank jerseys that they threw a chest patch on.
It's the we ran out of thread era, and now.
And yeah, that was it's a jersey set I almost completely forgot about, where it was just like Dallas on the chest, and that was it. And I forgot about that maybe because their current era is just so awful that I just don't even want to think of it.
Can I make a confession? I don't hate these jerseys.
Really?
I really don't.
Just
they got a Hartford Whalers thing about them, and then just it gets me
some,
right around here.
I'm
circling my heart.
It took some time, but I've grown accustomed to them. Like I wouldn't say I love them, but I'm indifferent towards them now. And
the thing,
maybe some of that had to do with
the logo.
Right,
that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
Just fine.
Yeah, I don't mind the jersey. I mean, I like the return to Kelly Green. I think that makes a lot of sense. Just given the history of the franchise and whatnot.
It is kind of a dick move.
Oh, it totally is. But I mean, it is what it is at this point. Like that, the team is that franchise is that franchise. They stole the freaking name.
I said on Twitter yesterday, if we play the Stars, that the winner of this series should get the North Stars name.
I think we raise the stakes instead of some stupid governor bet where we send 40 pounds of walleye down there or something stupid like
Mark
that.
Dayton needs to make that bet.
No,
we send the walleye, but if the Wild win, you send us Norm Green, no questions asked.
Hogtied.
We do what we want with him.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I'm with you.
Wild summer caravan would be very different.
I'm with you guys. I don't hate the jerseys so much. It's just that logo is just like it's just so. It looks like a high school logo.
It does kind of look like that weird Edmonton Oiler third jersey logo with the gear.
It was Cletus's kidney stone. That's what we named that.
Really?
It was a kidney stone from the Fox Sports robot Cletus.
Yes.
That's exactly what that was. And so, yes, it does have that feel to it.
And the little known fact about that kidney stone is that when he passed it, it had the comet trail.
It was glowing.
That's right. But you could see it along the near boards, which was nice.
Oh, comet trails on kidney stones. Good Lord. Oh,
everything has an upside.
That's terrible.
I think you could consider that an upside.
I mean, if you're going to have to go through it, I guess at least make it entertaining. I don't know. Yeah. At least
98-mile-an-hour kidney stone on.
At least add some whiz bang to
That's
it.
Right.
No pun intended. Oh, try the veal.
Yeah, I think that should just about do it for
that should mercifully end that segment.
Jerseys. It'd be interesting to see maybe next year or the year after if they add a third jersey to their set again and go down that road.
Yeah, you got to kind of wonder with this whole Adidas thing because there's plenty of teams without third jerseys right now. And as we saw with the Reebok Ed system, that killed off third jerseys. A lot of third jerseys, actually. Or all of them, essentially. And it'll be weird because that was kind of a weird footnote to the Reebok Edge where they just got rid of third jerseys for an entire 2 seasons.
Everybody had to come back with one.
I don't know if that's going to be the case with Adidas. I would think probably not, just based on the fact that third jerseys sell, real money. So it would be interesting to see if they do add one because they're probably fairly content with this, jersey they got right now. So it'd be interesting to see if they did add on.
It'll be a black one.
Yeah, it'll be black, and it'll have 3 stripes on it somewhere. We know these things, but
maybe they'll pay homage to the Mooterus again.
They should just bring it back. Just accept it. Just own your mistakes in the worst kind of ways.
A picture of a sad-looking cow.
The Islanders are going to bring back the Gordon's Fisherman. We're just going to have a bad logo party, logos that were so bad that you love them.
whatever the Washington Capitals were doing from 1996 on.
I kind of have a little bit of a like for those jerseys, but that's because it was like right in my wheelhouse for when I started to really love hockey. So it's kind of what I grew up with. You know, the whole like Jaromir Jagr era, Olaf Kolzig.
I lived in DC during that era.
Right.
And I was just
it
like,
was
wow, remember when you guys had
jerseys?
awesome red jerseys?
Yeah.
What happened to those?
Yeah. Now you guys wear teal in the nation's capital.
Right.
Let me tell you about those awesome red jerseys.
Giles is actually wearing one right now, and it is a very nice Ovechkin.
I'm commemorating
Capitals
Ovechkin
throwback.
scoring 50 goals again.
So me and my friend Brian Heinz, very popular Minnesota sports Twitter folk, were talking about this yesterday, and we're keeping tabs on the scores of the other games, obviously. And Ovechkin scored the first goal, and I'm like, oh, God, he's got to be pretty close to 50, because I know he scored his 40th against the Wild ages ago. He's like, oh, yeah, that was his 48th. And I'm like, oh, well, then he needs a hat trick for 50. And we kind of joked about that a little bit. And then he does it. So I was like, well, that was pretty awesome that we called Ovechkin hat-tricking his... we should have tweeted it, because Brian and I tweet virtually everything, so I don't know how we didn't tweet that. But, we were just hanging out, not on Twitter, at our friend Austin's house. And
just living your life.
Just watching sports with some bros, and called the Ovechkin hat-trick 50th goal. And it was not recorded anywhere on the interwebs for me to brag about later.
That's
amateur hour, I know.
Yeah.
It's not like me to not tweet something. I'll give you that.
I know, but you know I'm proud of you.
For once, you had a restraint on not tweeting.
I know. Well, it's because somebody didn't say something stupid. Never mind.
I'm just kidding. I'll be back on Twitter in 6 weeks.
What else do we have?
Yeah, well, I guess since we're kind of getting close to the end of the podcast, we can make a prediction since...
Oh, geez. I'm not prepared for this.
For the Wild Stars. So I guess I will open the floor. What's going to happen?
Well, I'll start. Since I'm not going to have to come back and pay for this, I can just be on this podcast whenever
You're coming back
now.
in 2 weeks, and we're roasting you.
Oh, really? Disagree. I'm just going to go Wild. Just, they win the whole thing. 16 wins, no losses.
Oh, wow.
That sounds like somebody who's watched the games.
That's right. Yeah. John Torchetti, Jack Adams Award winner. You can get that for just being undefeated in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, well,
no.
You should. They have like a coaching Conn Smythe.
That's right. And
they
to make matters worse,
it'll be the Torchetti Award.
Koivu touches the Prince of Wales trophy after they win it.
No.
Yeah. All of Wild Twitter loses their shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, you can beep that if you want.
Sure. I won't.
Oh, man, Ben has to work.
Yeah. And then they win anyway.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Isn't it the Campbell Bowl?
No,
are they? Is that? I can never remember which one.
Yeah,
which.
Western's Campbell.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, that's the weirdest part about it. He goes to whoever wins the Eastern Conference.
He just comes out of the tunnel and takes the Prince of Wales trophy.
That's right.
It's like a wrestling move. Like they're presenting the
If
Prince of
NHL
Wales
were
trophy.
WWE,
they're in Washington presenting it, and like Ovechkin's like, I'm not touching it. And it's like, oh my god!
Koivu just sprints out of that red carpet and just goes and then leaves again.
Like some Bjork plays, and like Koivu comes sprinting down which she's Swedish, right? Or Finnish?
She's Icelandic.
Oh, well, whatever. It's all the same. Vikings. He just comes sprinting down the aisleway and skates onto the ice, grabs it and shakes it, and then throws it at Ovechkin, forces him to grab it, and then skates back.
Mm-hmm.
All right, since the Wild are going 16-0 to the Stanley Cup, who's Koivu going to pass the cup to first?
Oh.
Christian Folin. Who then does the slap shot striptease with it. Nobody else gets to touch the thing. Then he beans Phil Pritchard over the head with it and just runs out.
Oh, God, that's going to be such an awkward moment if they're ever...
Facts, people, facts.
I don't think we'll have to worry about it necessarily, but, just given what we know about the dynamics of this locker room, like, is it just going to be passed around the veterans, and they're just going to, like, when the last veteran gets the cup, they're just going to stand there and kind of look at each other and be like...
Yeah, they'll just keep
I
passing
don't
it
know,
to each other.
should we hand this?
I think actually the best part about it is because before Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals, they bring back Nicholas Backstrom to do Let's Play Hockey.
Yeah.
I don't doubt this team doing that at some point. If not during the playoffs, definitely next season.
Well,
if he's not playing in Finland, which he probably will.
Sure.
If he takes on like goalie coach at like Hamlin University. That's definitely what they're going to have him do. He might do it like 4 or 5 times actually, just because they'll run out of people to say it.
Yeah, no, but he'll be the first active player to do it. Everybody will be upset again.
Yeah,
He'll rip off his Calgary jersey and Neil Broughton style display a Wild jersey. All of these things are going to happen.
Oh God. Fair enough.
What do you think about this series?
It's on me. I said that this is going to come down to the Wild's mindset, and it's been well documented that's not something I particularly have a lot of faith in. But I do think that they can get up for a couple of games. I think that looking at like the stats that I pulled on Friday, how they line up against the rest of the Western Conference looks awful. And so they're going to be a very popular pick to get swept in the first round. Or some kind-hearted souls will pick them to lose in 5 games. But if I have to go, gun to my head on the record, I'd probably go Stars in 6 right now, just because I think the Wild have it in them to get up for a couple of games. But everything else that we've seen from this team, I don't have faith in them keeping that mentality through an entire series long enough to win 4 games. I don't see them reaching down and tugging, as Doubles would say, and finding it in them to have what it takes.
Just sitting here thinking about what's going to happen, and all of a sudden, Norm Green dropping the puck before Game 1 popped into my head.
Oh, God.
That would be just a total dick move. But I could see it
totally
happening.
Going to happen. Just like how he suddenly mysteriously came out on the record talking about how much he loved Dallas and hockey the day of the North Stars alumni game. That was super classy.
That's when you get your full use out of Nate Prosser, who's at the end of the bench, and as Norm walks off the ice, Nate, you know what to do. You were around when this happened. Yeah. Just clothesline him. He's old. He's
just take a play out of the Duncan Keith playbook.
Yeah, just swing the stick.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure since it was Norm, you could probably talk him down to a 1-game suspension.
Yeah, that's fair. But that's one playoff game, obviously, as we've learned, is worth 5 to 10 regular season games, I guess, is the argument now.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be a close series. First round series are usually, for the most part, very close.
Yeah,
there's a lot more of, for whatever weird reason, there's just a lot more Game 6, Game 7s in there, and it's so hard to pin this team because of, like you said, their mindset, and now guys are starting to get hurt, and if they miss a game here and there, that hurts. And
I forgot to add one thing on my prediction.
Yeah.
Game 4 in overtime of the Stanley Cup Finals, game-winning goal scored by Jarrett Stoll. I'm out.
He just physically dropped the mic.
He did just do a mic drop.
It's fair.
But I picked it back up again.
We had them thinking you were gone.
Yeah.
No,
I was here the whole time.
He never left. Spoiler. I just think Dallas has too much firepower, and their defense is somewhat good, but
it's certainly not bad.
If the Wild can find a way to get 30 shots on net a night, that'll be very beneficial to them, because Dallas is a hot mess in goal, whether it's Lettinen or Niemi. Neither of them are very good, and that's why, should Dallas move on to the second round, I don't think they'll get out, because their goaltending is just very, very poor.
Yep.
So my official on-the-record prediction is Dallas wins in Game 7.
Oh, well. Which would be, disappointing for Wild fans, obviously, but that has the potential to be a very good series. Like we said, if the Wild can show up for a number of games, and I think they can, even though, the expectations really couldn't be much lower right now for them, especially outside of the state of Minnesota. I think they can surprise some people with how they play, how closely they play a team that is as good as Dallas. Dallas is, the 3rd best, 4th best record in the NHL. I think they can surprise a lot of people as to how good they actually can play Dallas, and which is how good this team actually is when you throw out all of the psychological nonsense that this team puts itself through.
Yeah. That's all I can really say. I'm out of words, which is rare.
Yeah.
And then our final topic, I guess, is playoff predictions in general, just for the rest of the league, I would guess. Okay. Kind of a spot here to promote our bracket challenge on Wild Extra. Some neat prizes to be had from our friends at Fan HQ. So definitely get signed up this week and participate, and we'll have updates after each round again. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I know you and I had kind of similar Stanley Cup picks. So I think.
Oh yeah, didn't I at the beginning of the season?
I think
right?
I think I had the Ducks over the Capitals in the final.
I think I had Caps over Kings.
Yep,
if I remember right.
So no spoiler. I'm probably going to stick with that pick in the bracket challenge, just to say I.
Kind of hard to argue with the Ducks right now.
Yeah.
Holy Christ! I mean, that team is talk about getting into the playoffs on an up note. I mean, that team is on fire right now. It's not even funny.
Well, and
they played today, too.
The Pacific Division part of the bracket in general should be just incredible.
Yeah.
With whoever wins the Ducks and Kings, for the Pacific Division, they'll get Nashville, and then the second place team will play San Jose, who is no slouch of a team right now. And
the battle for California and Nashville.
What stinks is those games aren't starting until 9.
The California of the East.
Yes. Yeah, that's. I mean,
some late nights. Yeah,
but that's kind of how it always is in the playoffs. Like, and especially now with those teams being as good as they are, you did have to wait up. I mean, remember last year when Winnipeg was playing the Ducks? That series was fantastic. It
only
lasted 4 games.
Those were
but they were fantastic games. I mean, it was totally unfortunate that the Jets just lost by a bad bounce, literally 4 games straight. Mm-hmm. But staying up for those games was absolutely worth it. And this year, you've got all 3 California teams in it again after not being that way last year. It's going to be. I think it's going to be tremendous playoffs, and especially in the Pacific. I think that's going to be definitely the part of the bracket worth keeping an eye on, because the Kings and the Ducks. I mean, their playoff success is pretty well documented at this point. They don't mess around come playoff time. So I don't know, that should be a really good first round and second round.
What's more incredible about the Ducks is, after October, we kind of had Bruce Boudreau pegged to be fired.
We had the Boudreau watch.
Yeah. And then, out east, obviously, I'm all in on Team Washington. Although I think I saw they're getting Philly in the first round, which I did not expect.
Did Washington play the Ducks already today?
They're playing right now.
Oh, that's right. No, because it was determined on the Islanders game, right?
Yep.
Yeah. They get Philly, though. That was already set in stone.
The Islanders are in, yes?
Yeah. Yeah, the Islanders are in. It was just if they won, they flipped and played Pittsburgh. Right. And if they lost, they played the Penguins.
Which team got squeezed out in that group, but it was Boston.
Yep.
And the Rangers would slide down and play Florida.
Yep.
Because
they'd be a wild card.
Go Florida.
That'd be another crapshoot.
I'm all in for Florida.
That was
big
weird talking.
Space guy.
As the team that will get swept in the finals by the Wild.
He's already made the predictions, but
right.
He didn't say the Eastern side of things.
That's right.
So Koivu runs down to Florida and takes the Prince of Wales trophy.
Yeah. Yes, that's what it is. Yeah.
The Wild will have won in 4 games, so he'll be able to have plenty of time to get there for that 7th game.
Punches Kevin Spacey on his way out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Take that, Frank Underwood.
He just brains him with one of those rats.
I don't think they'll be doing that again.
What can go wrong? No, guys, we have money to spare.
No, out east, it's just kind of a crapshoot because, in the last couple weeks, Washington was, just kind of an average team.
Well, they're kind of on cruise control.
At least before they clinched the President's Trophy.
Right.
They weren't playing overly great, and there was kind of some concerns. And
Pittsburgh is playing kind of out of this world right now.
I had Mike Yeo pegged to go back to Pittsburgh to be their coach, but it doesn't look like Mike Sullivan's going to go anywhere.
Nope.
I think the Rangers are a team that probably lose in the first round.
They could be.
They're
It's
just
all
not good in the back
hinges on
end.
Lundqvist, but if he's not on fire, they're kind of screwed.
He literally has to give up 0 goals
pretty
every
much.
game.
And the same thing goes with Islanders. Like that, I'm not a big believer in Yaroslav Halak, so I don't see them really going very far, no matter who they play either. So, I mean, either whether it's Florida or Pittsburgh, I mean, those are two pretty good teams. In Florida, I mean, holy Jaromir Jagr, like it's literally like I don't know how many more Ponce de Leon jokes you can make because he's playing in Florida, but it's like that guy he's literally like a hockey playing robot at this point. Like there's just no other way to describe it.
My love for him is unconditional.
I think you're not alone.
I need to start collecting the Jagr jerseys.
That's not a bad idea. I definitely need one in my rotation as well.
Just don't get that old Capitals one. I'll still talk to you guys.
Neat Twitter moment, I don't know, a while ago. I got retweeted somehow by the Traveling Jagrs.
Oh, yeah?
Pretty big following.
Nice.
So that was sick Twitter brag of the day.
Yeah. King Blogger with the sick Twitter brag.
It should be a fun playoffs. Always the best time of the year to watch hockey is the Stanley Cup playoffs. I tell people that. Make sure you're watching the playoffs because it's just a totally different animal from the regular season.
Yeah. And I would throw a challenge out there to Wild fans. I know that a lot of Wild fans are huge hockey fans too, and I'm certainly not going to question that. But there's probably a fair amount of Wild fans out there that don't really watch much of the playoffs after the team is eliminated. I mean, we certainly saw interest die down last season in the playoffs after the Wild were taken out. But I don't know. I would encourage more people to watch more hockey as the playoffs go along. I mean, the Wild certainly
watch hockey.
It doesn't look good, but after they're eliminated, I mean, you gotta watch playoff hockey. It's just, I think it's one of the best examples of professional sports that there is out there is playoff NHL hockey. It's so intense. And it's laid out so perfectly. In 7-game series, there's not a lot of fluky stuff that really determines series. I really think that it's a fantastic television viewing experience. And Wild fans, if you're a Wild fan and not watching playoff hockey, I really would implore you to, because I think it's fantastic.
I kind of feel bad for you if you don't do it.
Yeah, I really do. Yeah.
I mean, you're literally going to get something that. And it's improbable, even if your team is the best team, that they will be the one left standing at the end. Yeah. So you're going to rob yourself of 2 weeks to a month and a half of hockey just because you feel bad?
Yeah.
You're also missing opportunities to listen to Doc Emmerich and Chris Cuthbert call hockey games.
That's right.
Although
fantastic,
Kenny Albert gets mixed in.
You do end up with. Listen, you got to take the good with the bad. You're going to get some Kenny Albert. Maybe they'll give Gord Miller more stuff to do this year. Gord's good.
I'll give Kenny Albert a little bit of credit because his travel schedule is insane.
Oh,
in the
I
playoffs
remember
when the Rangers are in. Because NBC usually sticks him out on the West Coast. So he's flying back and forth between the West Coast.
He just wants to stay in New York. I'm fine with it. Take a rest, man.
And that's pretty much because Doc Emmerich calls all the games out east.
Yeah.
So
because they want ratings.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, also, he's the number one guy and he lives out east.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, that's how it works. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to complain about Doc Emmerich calling the East Coast games.
No.
I'm going to definitely be awake to watch those.
Yeah, you're definitely going to not miss those.
And God bless him, he's just so good.
He is. He really is.
And his adjectives. Find the Doc Emmerich bingo card of his adjectives.
We could fire one up, maybe. Yeah. Why not?
So, yeah, that's fun. So,
I'm game.
Yeah, that should just about do it. I guess any final thoughts?
No, I kind of went on my rant about watching the playoffs. I can't stress it enough. I know we did some playoff previews last year on Wild Extra, and I don't want to say they were poorly received. They weren't. I think people liked them, but not a lot of people really delved into the other playoff series going on outside of the Wild. And I would just implore people to do that. Get educated and watch as much playoff hockey as you can humanly consume over the next 6 weeks here, because as somebody who does it on a yearly basis, I would say it's very worth it.
Yeah.
Best time of the year?
Yeah.
No matter if your team's in it or not. Best time of the year.
Yep.
Yeah. Unless you're Canada.
Well, about that. Yeah, I mean, if you're I gotta wonder, does Canada even have like a
I'm sure they
rooting interest?
they still watch.
It's mostly still their guys. Like, the league's still primarily
Yeah, I don't
Canadian.
think it works that way, though.
No, yeah, I think you're right. But
And
it's like,
when you have 60% of the league,
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, there's a Minnesotan on the team.
there isn't a big one of us contingent
Right,
in the country of Canada. I understand.
Individual towns are maybe rooting for certain
Yeah,
teams.
Bonneville, Alberta, definitely be checking in on the Wild.
Yeah.
For sure.
large viewing contingent on the playoffs from Chur, Switzerland.
We're just going to leave it at that.
I guess
Google it.
I guess I have two final thoughts.
Okay.
One, I listen to the ESPN hockey podcast they do every week with Scott Burnside and Pierre LeBrun and Craig Custance. And I love Scott Burnside, but the stuff he writes, but he has been beating the Dave Haxtell should win the Jack Adams trophy horn for the last 4 weeks.
It's a good way to make Giles your enemy.
No.
Okay.
I want Philly
All right.
to get swept in 4 games.
Which is very possible. And your second thought?
Just no giving Dave Haxtell any awards ever. And
I have to question your bias a little bit here, Giles. I don't know, something about it just feels like you're not being 100% objective
I've
right
gotten
now.
into a shouting match with one UND fan in the last 24 hours. Should I make it 2?
I'm not a UND fan, but I'm not defending Dave Haxtell. I'm just saying. I don't know that you're... Okay.
Underneath that Florida Panthers jersey is a Joe Finley jersey. Everybody's favorite fighting hawk. Nailed it.
Second thought, Giles? No? You
I lost it.
Lost it?
No, I didn't. I just... I think Charlie said this earlier, but if this team does, lose in the first round and, they do it in a rather quick fashion, then there are going to be some pretty big changes.
I think it's just going to be a really interesting offseason no matter what happens.
Right.
No, I would agree.
I mean, you have to make some kind of player personnel trades of some kind, and, they'll probably be knocking on the Edmonton Oilers door.
Well, think of it this way. Either Chuck Fletcher will be the team's GM or he won't be. And if he's not the team's GM, a new guy comes in, reassesses all the players, and says who he likes and who he doesn't like.
Yep.
And if Chuck Fletcher is the GM, he didn't do anything last summer, and
he'd be more
it's
inclined to
probably
do
his
something.
last roll of the dice.
Yeah.
So do you think he's going to do it with the same group?
Yeah,
So
kinda
either
hard
way, I
to.
think you're in for some fresh faces.
Yep.
Well, and we kind of saw with Edmonton this year with Peter Chiarelli, he didn't make any moves when he came in. He took the whole season to kind of assess what he had, and now that's why I say, the Wild and Edmonton might find some kind of
Common
trade
ground,
this year.
Especially when the
summer.
Oilers win the lottery again.
I will implode. I was in this bar last year and was yelled at because my profanity was very loud when I saw the Edmonton Oilers come out of the envelope.
Oh, God, I laughed
I've
so
never
hard.
been yelled at in this bar except that one time.
We can make that happen again.
Yeah, that should just about do it
Sure.
for this week.
Sure.
Episode 50.
Yeah, 5-0. Congratulations to us.
Yay.
Hey,
and-
I'll come back at 100.
Yeah, that sounds fair enough.
I'll answer for the stuff I said earlier.
You can come back and explain, what was that? Chris Cuthbert or John Buccigross again.
Yeah, explain you're going to have to re-explain your hatred for John Buccigross
I
on yet
will.
another podcast.
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should be right after the Frozen 4 again, so yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, it's true.
It's always topical around that time.
Yeah, yep.
So yeah, that'll do it for this week. We'll be back next week, I think.
Yeah. To cover,
unless we're-
probably 2 games
unless-
worth of
yeah,
playoffs?
unless
roughly?
we're-
Maybe
yeah.
3? Who knows?
No, it should just be 2, I would think.
Maybe they do Thursday,
I don't think they're going
Saturday.
to cram in a back-to-back.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Which would just kill the Wild if they did. It's like, well, we had to play a back-to-back. when we
Our
lost.
legs are so tired.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll be back next week. Hopefully, good things happen, but you never know.
Yeah.
So, We will see you next week.
All right. Thank you.
St. Paul, Minnesota. Minneapolis, Minnesota.
We are ducks, and ducks fly together.
You're soft, you're slop. They calling me Pop. I'm rolling in bands, you're riding around and I beat up your lot. Hey, don't. Bros want a cop, but they are just not only. I'm up in the club, stacking the dubs and stuffing a lot. I'm hot like sauce. You soft like balsa. You ain't heard of me? Well, you probably are. Ask about. Nice to meet you. So good to see you. Bros wanna act hard, they need to take it easy. Soft.